I'd like to now introduce Shelly Houston from Kiwi Leather Innovations. Shelly is co-founder and director of Kiwi Leather Innovations, which transforms discarded kiwi fruit into high-value luxury biomaterials. With a background in plant-based cosmetics and early creative roots in trashed fashion, Shelly's work is grounded in circular thinking, combining natural materials with innovative processes. Thanks, Shelly.
Hello. If you'd told me that I'd be standing here 10 years ago or even 5 years ago speaking about biomaterials, circular platforms and science-backed innovation, I would have laughed at you. Speaking is not my finer point. I started as a young child in my grandmother's bathroom making concoctions, and today I'm helping turn kiwi fruit waste into next generation materials. Hi, I'm Shelly Houston, co-founder and managing director of Kiwi Leather Innovations. An idea with BPA's help that has gone from kitchen home hobby to lab experimentation and ready for the next phase of commercialisation. This has opened new windows for us as a brand. If you'd like to hear more about that, please come and see me after. The earliest memories I have are creating things and experimenting wherever I went. When I was 6 or 7, I was in my grandmother's bathroom mixing her expensive perfumes with flowers from her garden and combining them with denture creams to create what I believe was going to be the ultimate anti-aging product. At 12 years old, I was making a fake tan out of good old Marmite with moisturiser. I thought I could create something that not only smelt better, but would also give a natural glow rather than everything else that was on the market in the 90s. Now this did give a really good bronze colour, but it was much to my mother's disgust as it stained everything in sight. But even then, I was fascinated with chemistry and by the idea that I could create something better for the people around me. At high school, that curiosity grew into a real love of science. I used to take long showers so that I could read the back of the shampoo bottles, studying all the ingredients. And somewhere along the way, I developed a party trick, being able to recite the first 20 elements of the periodic table. Although I'll only say that that works when you're not in a room full of scientists, which is not the case today. As I moved into adulthood, I began experimenting, this time through cake making and decorating, creating new colours, flavours and experiences, always trying to push what was possible with everyday ingredients. That eventually led me to formulating my own clean and green makeup brand, Lulu Rose Cosmetics. This was started from my home kitchen. At the time, my daughter had really sensitive skin and my stepmother had breast cancer. So I was looking for something that they could both wear that would be natural on their skin and really last the test of time. My daughter's a dancer, something to be seen on stage, which was quite a push to have something really natural and organic that still really showed up the colours quite well. I am wearing the red, but I've been eating and drinking. So then I became deeply focused on creating something that was clean as possible, but still beautiful, still luxurious, and still timeless. Today, those formulations are now manufactured for me in Milan using high quality ingredients. And Lulu Rose became the first and still only New Zealand makeup brand to be showcased at both Paris Fashion Week and New York Fashion Week. All of that taught me something incredibly important, that small beginnings can open global doors and that behind every product is persistence, rejection, reformulation and resilience. Then came COVID. During the lockdowns, my son came to live with me, working on the kiwi fruit orchards in the Bay of Plenty, and he would send me videos, rows and rows of perfectly good kiwi fruit just left on the ground. This is only because they don't meet export grades. Then he was bringing home trays of this kiwi fruit at the end of the day, and while I love baking, there's only so much you can do with it. So I found myself asking a simple question. Surely this isn't waste, it's just waiting for better use. At the same time, I have been watching what was happening overseas with new materials, being made from apple waste, grape skins, mangoes, and cactus. And that sparked something. So I went back to what I'd always been doing, kitchen experimenting. But this time, it wasn't cosmetics, it was materials. And this is where I learned something important about science. You don't move forward in a straight line, you go backwards a lot. My samples cracked, others turned into something that looked more like cake than leather, although I still wouldn't eat it. We broke pasta machines, lots of pasta machines. At one point, my partner even fell through our kitchen floorboards. So there were nights I generally thought, what the heck am I doing? But every failed batch wasn't failure, it was data. I was learning, and it was one step close to something that would actually work. And that's where BSI, with the Scion Group, came in. And through them, the Bioresource Processing Alliance. BPA didn't just give us access to science, they gave us structure. They connected us to international researchers, testing capabilities, and the kind of technical expertise we didn't just have access to before. They helped us test properly and validate properly, things I hadn't done, in an environment that fosters new ideas, experimentation, and willingness to create new processes, new products, and new services. Most importantly, I learned to fail fast and learn faster. They have helped turn belief into evidence, and they helped bridge that gap between a kitchen idea and a commercial pathway. At those moments, while we were still questioning, they brought clarity, credibility, and momentum. But just when I thought we were starting to get somewhere, as we began working with Scion and the research team, one of the things they said was, we need to strip this right back. Every ingredient, every step, every assumption I have made in my home kitchen. And I'll be honest, that was confronting. Because in my mind, I had something that was working. But what I learned with something working once is very different from something that can be reproduced and trusted at scale. So we went right back to basics, breaking down the formulation, understanding the role of each ingredient, testing how they interact, rebuilding the process step by step, in a way that it could be validated in a lab to be able to grow. It felt like undoing months of hard work, but in reality, it was building the foundation properly for the first time. Because if we want to create materials that can sit alongside the best in the world in fashion, in automotive, and in design, they need to not just look good, they need to perform, they need to be consistent, and they need to stand up to scientific scrutiny. And that's what going backwards to go forwards really means to us. We've also come to realise that this isn't just about kiwi fruit, it's about valorisation, about seeing low-value byproducts not just as waste, but as a starting point for entirely new industries. We are home of the clean and green, the home of innovative culture. New Zealand has incredible volumes of underutilised biomass, and every one of those streams is an opportunity for new materials, new jobs, and new export markets. Imagine regional facilities transforming local waste into high-value products. Imagine circular systems where nothing is discarded, it's only reimagined. That's the future we're working toward. And with this, it has led us to continually re-evaluate our own vision alongside the BSIs and BPA, to keep working with the professionals, to keep asking, what more can we do with what we already have, to explore new opportunities with our own waste streams, to utilise funding and shared resources to move toward a more circular platform. Whether that's developing plant growth compounds that can go back to orchardists, or exploring bio-based components that can find a place in our own materials. With BPA's support, we are beginning to see how every fraction has value and how each one can have a defined pathway or a potential commercial use. So while it started with kiwi fruit, it's really about something so much bigger. It's about what happens when curiosity meets courage, and when organisations like BPA back ideas before they're proven. Because there's one thing I've learned: value is seldomly obvious at first glance. Sometimes it's sitting on the ground, waiting for someone to see it differently. So I'd like to thank BPA hugely for jumping on board with us right at the start. Callaghan and Scion through the BSI have also been a huge help to get us where we are. We now have over 80 brands, both in New Zealand and internationally, that are ready to use our material once I actually give it to them to test. It's still my baby. We have media coverage both here in New Zealand and worldwide. America, who also like to think that we're skinning kiwis, which of course we're not, have already been printing news that we're used in automotive streams over there. We are not. But it's great to have some media coverage anyway. So we're now in the next phase, going through more BPA, more BSI, and finding where our future can take us.
Thanks so much, Shelly. I feel like we need to get you into our schools to really inspire kids about what science actually is, like you just make it sound so exciting. And I think it's, what an amazing journey. Thank you. I think Shelly's got some samples. Oh, I get to do the show and tell. Beautiful, eh? So we'll position that somewhere where people other than me can touch and feel it.